Hello my friends, I am Vita. I'm a creator of Hippie Crow Hub, and today I want to share tips for first-time campers. Alright, if you are thinking about going camping but you've never done it before, or maybe the last time you went you were a kid and now you have your own family and you want to do it independently, and maybe you are brainstorming and trying to figure out how you're gonna get it done, because we all know camping takes planning. You can't just show up in the woods and feel like it's all gonna be just fine and comfortable. It won't, right? Okay, so the first time we went camping as a family and independently, meaning that I did my own planning and I had all my gear. I didn't go with any experienced campers. I used to go camping when I was a kid back home in Lithuania, and I used to love it. It used to be awesome, but there were always adults who had food, who, you know, brought this and that, so I never had to worry about the details. But this time, now we're living in Canada, in Ontario, and there's a lot of beautiful wilderness around, and I love nature and I want my kids to experience it. So a couple of years ago we decided we were ready to start camping. My daughter and my son at the time, they were around 5 and 3, I would say, just a couple of years ago, and we had such a lovely time, and I'm gonna share how I got my planning and how we did it and everything we faced. Okay, so first of all, like I said, I'm focusing on Ontario, Canada. So first of all, you're gonna have to decide what season are you going to camp. I assume if you're not very experienced, summer is the best time because it's possible to sleep in a tent. I'm not gonna talk also about how it would be if you camp with a van or in the car, or if you're booking a cabin or a yurt. I am gonna focus on camping in your own tent. Okay, so first of all, like I said, a season. So the season we chose was summer, pretty obvious. I would assume that fall, spring, and winter would be for more experienced campers. All right, and then number 2 is a location. All right, so for the first camping, I wanted to be close enough. Okay, so we did choose a location that is 1 hour away from us. So it's still a little bit of a drive, but at the same time, we're not committing to a 3 or 4 or 5 hour drive as a first-time camper. Okay, so we always have an option in case of an emergency to go back. I mean, I always make sure that we don't have to do that, because the whole point of going there and staying and enjoying the time, if you have to drive back and forth 5 times in the weekend, that would really suck, right? So okay, location. So I looked at locations within an hour drive from us. Okay, and location I have come across with was Sybil Point Provincial Park, which is in Georgina, Ontario, and it's by Lake Simcoe. Okay, was it the best camping experience? Now that we have more experience, that provincial park probably is not the most amazing, but it was amazing enough for the first time, because we still did a couple of cute trails and we enjoyed the environment. The beach was very busy. I mean, it was not a problem, but if you want to experience like wilderness, as in the grand woods, you're gonna have to go further away where is just a lot more space to do everything. And the way it works in Canada is that you can book your campsite and reserve your own spot online. There's a government website. You can also look for a private lands where people have a business where they rent out campsites in their homestead. And there are a lot of different locations and a lot of options. Okay, once you book it, It doesn't cost a lot, but you have a spot reserved. Also, in Canada, if you are experienced hardcore camper, you can just go to the wild woods and you can figure your stuff out. Now, with the small children and not so experienced camper, it is safer to go to a reserved spot, because there you still have washrooms, there's amenities room where some places have showers, some don't. Some you have to walk a little further down to another section of a campsite. So you can still find your way around, and it's not as wild. If you think about, you know, keeping yourself clean and having the basic running water and all these things. So for this type of camping, the planning is not as crazy. Okay. Number 3, think about the weather. Now, you can't plan weather that far ahead, but okay, so book your campsite anyway, even if it's a month ahead or 2 months ahead, or because in Canada it gets really busy and sometimes you can't find a spot in the campsite that you want if you're booking too close to the date. Okay, so book your camping anyway. So I would not cancel even if it's like raining the entire camping. I would just be like, well, this is what we're gonna have to deal with. And it pretty much what happened on the first camping. It rained almost the entire time we were there. But hey, I'm gonna share what happened. So the weather should not be a problem, because you're going into nature, and you can expect nature to always be cute and pleasant and palm trees, and you know, nature is all of it. So you just have to be prepared, and rain is not gonna melt you. You just have to make sure that you're not wet in a cold. If it's cold, then you're gonna be okay. Only probably consider canceling if there's some dangerous, serious storm happening, but in that situation you would probably be notified that a camping will be canceled for these days, and you'll be refunded. It happened to us with another camp. Booked Boneco the following year, and we were so excited, but then we got a notice that the campsite will be closed for a year, because after a huge storm there was so much damage done that they had to restore and repair. So we will probably have to plan to go there next year. But it happens. Okay, so number 4 is packing. Packing is a big job. Now, to pack, you gotta make a plan and you have to take notes, okay? And this is how I usually do it. So before even going to the shop to buy the food, I mean, at this point we have all our camping gear. So the only thing we shop for before we go camping is food and basic needs, maybe a couple of fire starters, or you know, like simple stuff. But if it's a first time and you still need to buy a tent or maybe borrow a tent or whatever it is that your plan is, I make a list like this, okay? So what will we need? All right, so I categorize like this. We are going to need to sleep, okay? We're gonna need to eat, we're gonna need to drink, we're gonna need to stay warm, stay dry, and also protect ourselves from bugs and sunburn, okay? So when it comes up to eating, plan how many days you are going to be there, okay? And how many people you have in your family. So have very easy dinner ready for the first night. I would recommend you arriving to the campsite just as it becomes available, usually around 2, because there will be enough time for you to set everything up. You don't want to show up late and then have to do it all in the dark. That will not be fun. Okay, so for sleeping, we are going to need a tent. We're going to need some sort of mattresses. We used air mattresses. Good thing about it is that it's soft. Another not so good thing about it is that the air in the mattress becomes cold. So you have to put a lot of extra layers to make sure that you stay warm. But there are a lot of very cool liners for the tent that is super insulated, and they're thin, easy to pack and wrap, but at the same time they're soft enough, so you can look into that. So for sleeping, you're gonna need blankets, you're gonna need extra clothes, you're gonna need sleeping bags. Like, we have found that every single year when we go camping at the beginning of the summer and middle of the summer, the nights are still chilly. And because you usually camp by the lakes, and the lakes are cool, so you do need to wear a lot of warm layers. The warmest nights we have experienced were around September. I think after summer, that's when the earth and the water is the warmest, and that really keeps the whole climate in the night cozy. But anyway, you never know. Temperature does fluctuate, so you always have to be prepared. Now, pillows. I do bring little pillows for the kids to make sure they're comfortable, but I don't pack pillows for me and my husband. We usually just use an extra blanket or a piece of clothing or a backpack to stuff it with something, and we invent our own pillow for the night. It's not always the most comfortable, but hey, it's camping, right? If you want a 5-star hotel, go to 5-star hotel. All right, and eating, okay? So plan what you're going to eat the first day you're going to get there, okay? Because when you get there, you're gonna be busy setting up the tent, you're gonna have to figure out the little bloopers, you're gonna have to find stuff, you're gonna have to unpack everything, repack everything, pack everything again, hide all the garbage, stuff it back into the car. So you're gonna be busy. You're definitely going to be busy. So make sure your dinner is going to be as simple as possible. Plan ahead whether you're gonna bring electric stove or gas little stove, or you're gonna cook on the fire. If you're going to cook on the fire, you're gonna need to buy firewood in the campsite, because they don't want you bringing wood outside the campsite. That can mess up the environment and the bugs and all the things that it's. So just buy the firewood in the campsite. But if you are going to cook on the fire, you're gonna need time, because you're gonna need to wait until the fire comes down, until the charcoal gets created. So you're gonna plan ahead, okay? Always have snacks. If for any reason your stove broke or it's raining and any of it got wet and you can't make proper fire, make sure you have a lot of healthy snacks, like if you're not allergic, or if you eat like nut bars, fruits that don't go off too fast, that are filling, some veggie snacks that can be in a cooler for couple of days, so that it's not getting like mushy and rotten right away. Okay, so drinks. Now I'm focusing on water. That's the most essential. All the extras you can pack if it fits in the car. Now water is what you going to need. Okay, so usually in a campsite, there is running water, but that water is good for dishwashing, or if you're going to cook with that water, you have to make sure you boil it for at least a minute to make sure that it is safe. Always check on your campsite website what is the advice. Is the water really dangerous to consume, or you really need to bring water for absolutely everything? I don't pack bottled water for cooking. I've always used the running water there. Just make sure I boil it, like if I'm gonna boil pasta, or if I'm gonna even even if you're gonna cook tea, sometimes it's okay, or cook coffee. You can boil the water for a good minute before you make the tea or coffee with it. Okay, and we do bring bottled water for just straight up drinking. Okay, so make sure you plan that very well and how much you're going to need. If you don't feel comfortable with the water from the tap, you're gonna have to bring a lot more water, because you gotta remember that you're gonna need to brush teeth, you're gonna need to cook with it, you're gonna need to wash your vegetables. You know, you can pre-wash them at home too. That might be easier. Just think about all these things when you pack. I can't tell you exactly what details to put in your bag, but you're gonna think what are you going to need before you think what I would like, right? Okay, so we're gonna need to stay warm. Always bring extra layers, like jackets and layers. Bring a couple of things, but don't bring a lot of different options for fashion, because you are going to have too many clothes and too many things. You need to be organized and compact. Now, I usually bring a set of clothing for each person per 24 hours. Okay, sometimes we'll do this. We will wash ourselves in the evening, and we'll put some clean like leggings, t-shirt, and then all the other warm stuff on top. We'll sleep in it, and in the morning we'll wake up and we'll kind of hang out with these clothes for the rest of the day. Well, if we go to the beach, we'll change anyway, but you see the point, because you don't want to have food smell on your clothes when you go to bed because of the wildlife, and that just makes most sense for me, to go to sleep clean and then wake up and just freshen up and keep the same clothes on, because we're gonna get dirty walking around, cooking, trailing, playing, and all that. So, and then all these clothes at the end of the day can be dumped into the laundry bag. Okay, okay, staying dry is so important. Okay, so a little story. The first time we went camping, to this particular camping that I'm talking about, it was raining most of the times. We went there for 2 or 3 nights, to be honest, I can't remember exactly. And it rained for more than a half time we were there. Only on the last day, it really cleared out and it was sunny, beautiful, but we had to deal with a lot of rain. Now, we still had an amazing time. We just needed to make sure we pack rain boots, we bring rain jackets. Now for camping, I really recommend bringing those simple plastic bag, old school raincoats, because they're very compact. They are good in a cold climate and in a warm climate. So if you feel warm and it's summer and it's raining, you don't have to wear like a big jacket over you, and you can pop it over absolutely any outfit that you have. Now, one fail that I had to experience was that I got my hair wet. The hoodie on my raincoat kept falling off, and I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm not cold, it's fine. The water was dripping all over my head, my face. And then by the time it got dark, it started getting colder, and I realized that there's no way I can dry my hair, because it was still raining, it was damp, it was wet, and my hair stayed wet the entire night. I was cold. I couldn't sleep very well at all. I remember I woke up, I was like, I felt so swollen, my hair was like, you know, I had a hoodie for sleeping, but still the certain dampness and the coolness and your hair being wet, it wasn't healthy. I'm glad my kids did not have wet hair, it was just me, or maybe I just noticed it the most. But don't get your hair wet if you know you can't dry it. Now, like I said, some campsites do have electric sockets, so if you really feel like a fancy camping, you can bring a hair dryer. I would not bother. I would just make sure I plan my hair to get dry before I go to bed, somehow in all the other ways. And okay, so and bug protection and sunburn protection. Now, for bug protection, you have to be aware that in some seasons, there will be mosquitoes, and in some areas there are like all different types of mosquitoes, and they can be really nasty. So you're gonna need bug sprays, or you're gonna need cover-ups, so you're gonna need long sleeves. Always recommend long sleeves and full cover-up for both bugs and staying to protect yourself from sunburns. It's the easiest, most natural thing. Okay, so for the face, you can also get those hats. We never used them. A couple of times we got nasty bug bites, but I'm like, what's nature? You deal with it. We did use creams too for bugs. For sun, only if we're staying in the beach for a long time and we're exposed, but I do like to cover up too. I just bring like shirts with long sleeves just to put over me, and always a hat. Hat is just the best thing ever for these kind of things. Okay, and bug sprays and bug creams, they don't always work. It depends on the brand, it depends what type of mosquitoes you're targeting. Also got to think about ticks. I heard tea tree oil is very good to defend yourself from tick bites. You can look into making your own natural ones with essential oils. They do help. You can back yourself up and bring a couple of different options and see what works. And also after bite cream, I am so glad that one camping, that was something that I took a note of. I said, you know what, you still get bit. Doesn't matter how hard you try to protect yourself, you're still gonna get bit. And some bugs, they leave nasty swelliness, like my daughter had some sensitive reactions, and after bite really helps to soothe the itchiness so they don't scratch and make it bleed and make it worse. So again, there are a lot of different options. There are natural options. There are those mainstream options. I always try to go as natural as possible. And yeah, just do your research and look up into little details like that, and you're gonna be good. And yes. So arrival time. So once you get there, I think I already mentioned, so arrive nice and early. Usually the campsite is available from 2 or 1 p.m. It depends on a location, because people leave in the morning and new people come into the campsite. And make sure that don't come too late, because in the dark it's not easy to prepare. And when you arrive, the first things you should do is set up your tent. You're going to need to sleep. You don't know when kids are gonna get tired. You don't know if you're gonna need to hide from the rain. Set up a tent and you will be good. Next, plan your food and dinner, okay? So that should be an easy thing to do. And of course, your bonfire, you can hang out by the fire, chill. At that point, all the chores will be done. So then you can just hang out and relax and enjoy. Also, you can make a plan on exploring. Usually the same day, once we get our basic things prepared, we go for a little walk around, kind of like feel out what's where, how far away things are. Usually you get provided a little newspaper of the trail routes and the maps, and we try to pick which things we can do on what day. Now in this camping at Sybil Point, there was a super nice trail, fern trail, maidenhair fern trail, and that was super sweet. There was so many different types of ferns, plants, and it was rainy, but it was beautiful because all the vegetation was wet and green, and we loved it. Okay, so I think I am done with these tips. This is all I can remember. And like I said, make sure you plan, you write things down, you pack, and ooh, I just remembered. Okay, so when you do pack, you gotta also consider the size of your car. So if you have a big spacious car, not to worry, you're gonna fit a lot of things in there. we don't have a big car, so we have to like play Tetris how fitting things in the car, and I always try to pack as minimal as possible. And also to compare from how I packed the very first time we went camping for a couple of days, everything was like up to the roof. It was so stuffed. And then next year we went to Algonquin for a whole week, and I managed to fit everything so efficiently that we had like space in the back window, and everything was so well organized. It was insane, and it was a lot of stuff I squeezed in there. So do plan that. Now I'm also considering for next longer trips that I will probably buy one of those bags that you can put on top of your car and hook it and clip it inside underneath the door. I think that will help a lot. I think in there I could put like things like tents and chairs, foldable chairs and all that kind of thing, and really have it like snug and organized. I think that would really help. So consider these options. Going on adventure.
We're gonna go see the ferry, right?
We're gonna go
Fairy
to
forest?
the
Fairy forest.
It's Maidenhair Fern farm. No, not a farm. Maidenhair Fern trail in the woods.
Yeah.
And so it's raining outside.
Mom, this is in the side.
Uh-oh.
And guess what?
How's the sausages?
Oh, maybe we can see something.
Huh?
Guess what? We're not at home. We're in a tent.
What?
Yeah.
We're in the woods?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I see the woods everywhere. And it's pouring rain.
Yep.
So what did we do today? And I hope you enjoyed the video. Please comment, like, share, and I hope you enjoy your first camping. If you do, make sure you let me know if any of it helped. Okay, thank you so much. Bye. Mwah.